101. You know, there's an old adage that says you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. Well, you can't grow great vegetables in crappy soil. So this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what you're growing in. We'll assume that, you've talked about what you're going to plant and all of these kinds of things. And like I said last time, let's make sure you don't be too big. Don't get plans that are far beyond what your reach is, because it's exciting this time of the year and as you're planting, but when we get to July and it's 95 degrees and the mosquitoes are biting on you, then you kind of second guess why you planted the garden quite as large as you did. So, determine what it is you like, determine it is what it is that you want to grow, and then start from there. Now, as far as the garden site is concerned, we want to make sure that we're in an area where we have adequate sunlight, bare minimum 6 hours of direct sunlight a day. The other thing you want to keep in mind is location as it relates to water, because you will need to water, and it's no fun to drag 150 feet of hose out every time you need to water. So make sure your water source is close by and convenient, so you know about that. And then let's talk about the garden itself. We're going to talk about 3 areas today. Number 1, in the ground. Number 2, raised bed. Number 3, container growing, and they're all a bit different. So we're going to start off with in the ground first. We'll assume that you've got a spot in your yard where you want that garden. You'll kind of determine the size that you want at the garden, and then what? If it is currently grass, sod, or plant material of any kind or another, it's absolutely critical that you get rid of that plant material before you till your garden. One of the worst things that you can do is go into a bit of lawn area and rototill or spade up an area and get it all tilled up, because what happens is as you're tilling up the grass or, obviously perennial weeds that are there, perennial plants of one kind or another, you're chopping up that root system. And each of those pieces of that root system that you break up and chop up have a node on them that will begin to grow. So, you can till up that lawn and it's going to look beautiful now, and it's going to look beautiful when you plant it. And along about the end of May, you're going to see grass and weeds coming up all over the place. And they're going to be perennial grasses and weeds, which makes them more difficult to control. So the first thing you want to do is determine where that garden is going to be, how big it's going to be, and then you're going to get rid of the vegetative material that's there. And a great way to do it is use this product. This is called Kills-All, Quick Kills-All. This is a glyphosate, fast-acting glyphosate. It is going to destroy any growing plant that is there. And the nice thing about it is you can mark your area out, spray this material on. If it's a large area, there's concentrate form. You can mix it and spray it yourself. The little spray bottle works well, and it will absolutely kill any living plant that's there. Now, timing-wise, we like to have this grass and whatever it is that you're growing up a bit. Maybe a couple of inches of new growth on it, because it needs to assimilate this material into the leaf system, translocate it into the root system, destroy that root system, and then you're done. So typically what we'll do is find the area, mark it out, spray the area, wait a week, 10 days, as long as you possibly can, and then do this. When you're bringing that rototiller in, the very first time over that area, I want you to till very lightly, just below the soil, and you're going to be cutting up all of the crowns of those perennial grasses that were there or perennial plants that were there. You're going to break them all up, and when you have that done, then take a rake and rake it off to the side so that you have this nice black spot that you can work up nicely. And then you'll want to do either your deep spading or your rototilling at that point in time. Make sure it's dry. Don't do it when it's wet, because if you do, you're going to wind up with a cloddy garden all season long, and it's going to be difficult for you. So typically what I'll say is this: If you can kneel down on your knees and pop up and your jean is, feels a little wet, maybe a little moist, you're in good shape. Not a particular problem. So, if it's soppy wet or if it's muddy, please stay off of it until it's dried out, and then go ahead and get her done at that point in time. So this is what we're going to do when we're preparing a garden in the yard in the existing soil. You really need to take time to do that properly. If you can, when you have tilled it the first time, that material that you raked off, bring it back in, lightly spread it over the top, till it the second time. And if you want to add some peat moss, compost, organic matter of any kind that is well composted over the area, no deeper than 2 inches thick, work it into the area and you will do a fine, fine job. Now, I've wasted way too much time on this. I've not gotten to the container or raised garden bed. We'll do this next time. If you've enjoyed this, we'll want you to make sure that you leave a comment or like or share, whatever it is. You folks know better than I about that kind of thing. And in just a couple of days, we're going to be talking about the container gardens and the raised beds. And instead of talking about soil, we're going to be talking about media. It's an entirely different subject. So you have a great day. We'll look forward to seeing you very soon. And until then, keep on believing, won't you? Bye now.